All right. Can you hear me okay?
Here we go, Matt. You got me?
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Good deal. Sorry about that. I
Oh,
went
no,
to the
no. I think
original.
it was all on my end. For some reason, unless she used a different Zoom to sign up, I don't know. But for whatever reason, I couldn't get in there either. So it kept telling me to wait on the host to let me in. Um, so we reconfigured. That's part of the job.
All right. Yeah, we got it worked out. We're good. I appreciate you guys doing this, by the way. I know y'all had a couple of interviews with some of our guys. So
Yeah. It's
we
such
appreciate
a
y'all putting the program together.
yeah. We're really excited about it. I mean, I think it's got great potential. So the more folks we can get involved in it, the better. It's going to be a good thing. So you got the questions in advance.
Yeah, I don't have them in front of me. I kind of looked them over. I think there
Yeah.
were
So
like 3 or 4 questions or something like that.
yeah, and really, we just want to get your impression of what it was like for you on that day. Were you already working
Yeah,
with
I
the fire
started.
department?
Yeah, let me go ahead, Matt. I'll go ahead and kind of give you my background a little bit.
Yeah.
So I hired on with the fire department in 1990. Started with Mountain Brook Fire, and I've worked with two other departments since that time. I worked with Centerpoint and Hoover, but the whole time I've been with Mountain Brook. So at the time this all happened, I was on the line as a firefighter paramedic. I remember I was getting off that morning on September 11th. I was working. I was actually getting ready to get off work. And so, like firefighters, typically we get around the kitchen table when the new crew's coming on and the off-going crew. We end up having conversations about the previous shift and just talking about all the stuff that had gone on, so the guys coming on kind of know what's happened and just any kind of new reports that they need to know. And we're drinking coffee at the kitchen table, watching the news. Typically, they always have the news on. And of course, the news came on that the
Yeah.
breaking news there in New York that the World Trade Center had been struck. At the time, they thought it was a small aircraft. And so we started, like firemen, we started talking about the actual fire. We started talking about the job, like what would we do if we were actually there on the scene.
Mhm.
And so we started looking. Of course, they've got a helicopter that's kind of circling the World Trade Center. So they're kind of giving the reports and what they think happened. At the time, they didn't know all the information we know now. But us firefighters were talking about, oh, that's going to be a tough fire just because of how many floors they were going to have to get the teams up, to get them set. And so the way they typically would do it would be they would set up an incident command center at the bottom of the actual structure, and then they would send their firefighters would start relocating to the floors just below the fire floor, where they'd start assembling all their equipment to get ready to make an attack on the fire floor. So we're starting to talk about all the tactics and strategies that were going to be implemented to actually do this, to work this job. We call them
Right.
jobs. And so we're certainly looking at it, but as the time goes on, and this is even before the second aircraft struck the other World Trade Center structure, we started noticing that, wow, this actually looks like it's a pretty big fire. The fire's growing, which obviously is a big concern, but these large structures, especially high-rise buildings, are required to have fire suppression systems in them. And so when the fire kept blowing out the hole where the aircraft went in, we started thinking, man, there's something not right about this, just because the fire suppression system should be, basically, you should start seeing a lot more heavy black smoke or even almost gray-white smoke as the fire suppression actually prevents the fire from growing. Of course,
Yeah.
we didn't realize at the time that this was a large airliner that was actually full loaded with aircraft fuel, which was the whole issue, was
Right.
all this flammable liquid when it's high rate of speed strikes the World Trade Center, and of course it dispersed all that fuel throughout that structure. There was just no way that fire suppression system could do its job, for two reasons. Number one, because of the heavy fire load, but also because of the damage that was caused by the striking of the aircraft as well. So these guys were going into what, we're having had that conversation. Of course, we're glued to the TV, and then we actually see the second aircraft strike the other tower. And then, of course, that totally changed. We were like, oh my gosh, this wasn't an accident, of course,
Right.
like anybody else. And so that day, I can always remember that. And of course, everybody starts calling their loved ones and everything, because then
Sure.
other reports started coming through about the other, they're trying to get all the aircraft out of the sky and land everybody, because they've got aircraft flying around, and everybody was concerned that what's next. So I actually got home and got in touch with my wife at the time, and everything kind of started settling down once we started realizing everything that was going on. But it was a crazy day, to say the
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. So horrific.
Yeah.
Let's see. And can you talk a little bit about how September 11th has changed your job, your outlook? I mean, and how y'all approach the job of being a
Yeah,
firefighter.
for the fire service, it really changed a lot for us, because New York City Fire Department, it's the biggest fire department in the country, and so they were always pretty much they're kind of the gold standard, just because of how large they were, and just how busy they are. Of course, when a department that size is unable to really handle such a large incident like that, there's no way like a Mountain Brook Fire Department or even a Birmingham Fire Department could actually handle something that large. So one of the things that happened, which was by President Bush, was the mandate, the NIMS program, which is the National Incident Management System. So what that is basically, it's a system put in place that actually provides effective planning, training, and coordination between multiple agencies, so that we're all talking the same language. Because what the police department says and what the fire department says, they're two different things. And so
Sure.
PD, for the most part, they use 10 codes, like a 1020 or whatever. Those codes mean something. Fire departments, typically, we always talk real English. So if we needed something, we would say, hey, bring a hose line up to the second floor. So we all had to get on the same page. One of the issues we recognized after they did the investigation of what happened, what went right, what went wrong, one of the things we figured out quite quickly was that none of the agencies had the other agencies' frequencies, so they couldn't even talk to each other. So you
Yeah.
had New York Police Department doing one thing, you had the fire department doing one thing, and you had New York EMS, Emergency Medical Services, doing one thing. And it was hard for them to coordinate what was going on. So one of the things we recognize is that we all needed each other's frequencies, and we ought to be able to go onto their radio frequencies. And we do that now. We actually, like local departments, we have each other's frequencies. We even have shared frequencies. So they could dial into a particular, what we call an operations channel, where they could actually, so if Birmingham had a big incident and they're requesting resources from Mountain Brook Fire Department, we would show up, check in with their incident command system, get an assignment, and go to their frequencies. And they're talking the same language we're talking, and we train together. So one of the things we recognize also is that we needed to train together. And so there's been a lot of time, effort, and money put in for police, fire, EMS to work together and learn each other's, what their jobs are. So that's been really good for us, not only for these kind of big scale fire incidents or terrorism, but also domestic terrorism as it relates to school shootings and stuff like that. So we do a much better job in that from the time I came on in 1990 till today, and how we do that. There's a big difference in how we do that. So that's kind of the big things that we've seen, just about the terminology and frequencies and training.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So that's something that's been really cool. And the fact that we, even through the state of Alabama, where we have hurricanes, for example, we sent resources down. We call resources like firefighters with engine companies or medium rescue or heavy rescues down to the coast to be able to assist those communities during their time of need. And so what they do is the city goes, hey, we need help. These are the resources we need. And most of the cities have an agreement that says, hey, we're going to send these resources down to you, with that possibility that we won't be reimbursed, because if it's not declared as a national disaster, they won't get refunded for that resource going down there. But it's something we all do, because we all realize, for us, tornadoes is our issues. Down south is the hurricane. So when those type of things happen, you need a lot of people with a lot of specialized training to be able to help you through those times, especially the first several days, to be able to actually just note what kind of issues you actually have, to make sure that there's nobody still trapped and that you've got everything kind of mapped out, and what, because you've got to secure utilities, you've got to make sure that everybody's accounted for, and then you've got to be able to get fresh water in and food in and start getting businesses back up, because the longer the businesses are shut down, well, that's your tax revenues now being impacted by that, which devastates communities. So there's a lot of things that we've learned through the last probably 30 years of how we can do things better. Don't we get it right all the time? No, but we do a much better job, and we communicate, and we all realize that we need each other. So we're also willing through that's not the fire department or the police department. Those are the city fathers saying, hey, we're buying into this because we know Mountain Brook, during our time of need, we're going to need others to help us if a tornado comes through our city, that kind of stuff. So those things, I think it's been kind of a big improvement for us. It's certainly changed. 9/11 changed who we were. Of course, it was cool in a way that people were so appreciative of first responders after that, how people would come by. And even though Mountain Brook Fire Department is so totally different from New York and the services we provide, it's just a night and day difference. If you've been to New York, you've seen how high rises together. I mean, there's just a lot of dense populated, areas, and we're basically a residential community that's just totally different in the services we provide. We provide more EMS. We do fire, but we don't do a lot of fires. But people are just so appreciative of that, and it was pretty cool that everybody reached out to us and said, "Hey, we appreciate what y'all do." So that was neat.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things to come out of it. I mean, and that idea of communities coming together in times of disaster, I think is an amazing and wonderful thing for us all to remember.
I mean, that time, I think America pulled together as America. It was we all have our political views and all our religious thoughts, but during that, at least within several weeks afterwards, it seemed like we were all pulling together. And that was, hate it took what it, to have that all these people die, but it was kind of a neat thing to see the Americans pulling together, and we're forgetting about whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican or independent. We're all Americans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what would you like people to know or remember about September 11th?
I would probably say, goodness, that's a tough one. I think the big thing for me is it really wasn't about the fire department as much as it was about that. What was the attack truly about? And the attack wasn't about an attack on the World Trade Center, and it wasn't an attack on the people of New York, but it was an attack on Americans and in America and our freedom, which comes at a cost, I truly appreciate all the first responders and armed forces that protect our freedoms. And I think we just need to be cautious in giving up our freedoms so that we have the protection, supposedly, and that's something we all, have experienced the change in just going to the airport and how we have to process through stuff and how that's really changed our lives. I know we're getting guys and gals now coming into the fire service that weren't alive on 9/11. And so that's a big culture change for us in the fire service, because we're talking about something that they weren't even alive about. Some were alive, but don't even remember it. They were so young. And then some of us were on the job when it happened. So I just want people just to realize, hey, it was a terrible thing that happened, a lot of changes, but we got to be cautious and careful about what we allow the government to do in hey, we're going to be secure. Right. Because we definitely don't want another 9/11 to happen for sure, just because we're going to be a target. I just think American and what we stand for, and because of what we stand for, it's a beautiful thing, but it also can be a difficult thing because of the freedoms we have, the speech. And to me, even though I don't agree with what some people say, I do agree that they have the rights to say what they say. Yeah. So I think that would be my thing.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you on on September 11th for the commemoration.
Yeah, for
festival.
some, yeah, appreciate that. Are y'all gonna have somebody there taping some of that?
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have some recording there, and then we also are going to try and do some interviews with folks on the day.
Well, let us know. If we need to, our keynote speaker, if you want to try to get a hold of him and maybe have a conversation with him afterwards, we would just need to make sure he's got time for that.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
So I'm hoping I don't do it before, because we don't want to take away his message.
Absolutely.
But we're looking forward to it. So right now it's set for 8:30. It's going to be right there near the library. It's going to be actually on the corner of Keeley and Oak Street. It's typically where we set it up. We'll have the staging there. Police and fire from all three cities, Vestavia and Homewood and Mountain Brook. We always participate in that together. So we look forward to that, and hopefully it's going to be a beautiful morning. It'll be a Saturday morning. So it'll trying to get a little early so that we beat ahead and allow people from all over each of the three communities, and even over from Birmingham. Hopefully we get a pretty good turnout, and that people get to do a remembrance, but also be a real patriotic day for us as Americans. So we look forward to that. So,
absolutely. Well, Stacey, thank you so much.
Hey, Matt, thank you. I hope you got a couple of things anyhow. I appreciate y'all again putting this together for us, and hopefully I look forward to it. Now, how will this be kind of put out, or how's this going to work?
We're still, figuring out some stuff, but I think what we'll do is upload individual interviews to YouTube, and then we'll also do some sort of compilation. So we'll pull things from different interviews to do on like kind of a DVD type of thing. And we're hoping to be able to work with maybe some students and professors over at UAB's film department. So we're still working on those connections. Everybody in the film community is kind of busy with Sidewalk is coming up and at the end of this month. And so they all kind of scramble around and work on that. But that's a really great film festival if you've never made it down there. They do some great stuff. It's going to be back downtown this year. It's August 23rd through 29th, I think. But there's some neat stuff. I got to host Karate Kid there a few years ago, which was a whole lot of fun.
Wow.
So just to talk about the film and stuff, and then it was so lovely. At the part where Mr. Miyagi, does his hands, everybody in the audience like clap their hands, and like it was amazingly moving. It was a cool thing.
Yeah, cool.
So we're looking forward to it, and we really appreciate you sharing your experience with us. So.
Well, I appreciate you asking. I really do. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to seeing the other interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my friend. Well, take care. Have a great day.
All right. You too, Matt. Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Take care. All right. Bye-bye.